Here is the third part of the Flsh series today, so let's get to today's story. Central City was safer than ever, at least that's how it seemed. Barry Allen had stopped 2 metahumans already, and with his speed he felt unstoppable. But tonight, something new was coming. In a dark parking garage, a man hurried to his car, looking over his shoulder nervously. He was Kyle Nimbus, a former hitman for the local mob. He had managed to escape justice before, but this time the law had caught up with him. Before he could get inside his car, a thick, eerie mist crept toward him. It swirled unnaturally, closing in fast. Kyle gasped, reaching for the door handle, but it was too late. The mist wrapped around him, and before he could even scream, it entered his lungs. Within seconds, he collapsed to the ground, lifeless. The mist reformed into the shape of a man, his eyes cold and unfeeling. He smirked. Nimbus was no longer just a man. He was now something else entirely, a new kind of threat. At Star Labs, Barry was training, zigzagging between obstacles set up by Cisco, testing his reflexes. But Caitlin wasn't amused. "Barry, if you keep doing this, you're going to pass out from exhaustion again." Barry stopped, grinning. "Come on, Caitlin, I'm fine. I feel great." Cisco chimed in. "Yeah, but let's not forget what happened last time you thought you were invincible." Before Barry could respond, Detective Joe West called. "Barry, we got a problem. Meet me at the precinct." At the crime scene, Barry and Joe examined Kyle Nimbus's lifeless body. There were no wounds, no signs of struggle, just a terrified look frozen on his face. What could do this? Barry wondered aloud. Joe looked uneasy. "I don't know, but something tells me we're not dealing with a normal killer." Barry rushed the body to Star Labs, where Caitlin ran tests. What she found was chilling. Nimbus's lungs were filled with poison gas. But there was no chemical residue, no way it could have been artificially introduced. Cisco checked the CCPD case files. Kyle Nimbus, hitman for the Darbinyan crime family. He was on trial for multiple murders, but then the Star Labs explosion happened, right before he got the death penalty. Barry put it together. He must have been in the particle accelerator when it exploded. Caitlin's expression darkened. If that's true, then his body might have mutated to produce the same gas that killed him. Cisco nodded. Which means, technically, he is the gas. Barry tensed. Another metahuman. And this one could kill without even touching his victims. Ghosts of the past. While Barry prepared for his next battle, Caitlin struggled with her own demons. Seeing Nimbus reminded her of someone, her fiancé, Ronnie Raymond. Ronnie had been a structural engineer at Star Labs. On the night of the particle accelerator explosion, he had stayed behind to stabilize the reactor. He didn't make it out. As Cisco and Caitlin worked on a way to stop Nimbus, Cisco hesitated. "There's something I never told you." Caitlin's eyes narrowed. "Cisco, what are you talking about?" Cisco swallowed hard. "The night Ronnie died, he saved me. He closed the core from the inside while I was outside the chamber. If he hadn't, I wouldn't be here." Caitlin was silent. She had buried her pain, but hearing this brought it all back. She turned away, hiding the tears forming in her eyes. A fight against the air. That night, another victim fell. A judge who had sentenced Nimbus to death was found the same way. Lungs filled with gas, fear frozen on his face. Barry knew what this meant. Nimbus was hunting everyone responsible for his execution. And there was one more person on that list. Detective Joe West. Barry's heart pounded. Joe, you need to get somewhere safe now. But before Joe could respond, the mist crept under his office door. Nimbus materialized in front of him, his expression deadly. Detective West, you put me on death row. Now it's your turn. Joe grabbed his gun and fired. The bullets went straight through Nimbus's body. He dissolved into mist and reformed instantly. He lunged at Joe, but before he could strike, a red blur swept through the room. Barry grabbed Joe and sped him out of the building just in time. But Nimbus was still out there. The final confrontation. Barry returned to Star Labs, frustrated. I can't hit him. I can't touch him. How am I supposed to stop him? Cisco thought for a moment. What if you don't have to hit him? What if you just trap him? Caitlin's eyes widened. Of course, if he's a gas, he needs to stay in an open space to spread out. But if we trap him in an airtight chamber… Barry nodded. We can stop him. That night, Nimbus attacked again, this time going after Stag Industries, the same place Barry had protected before. Barry arrived in time to intercept him, dodging Nimbus's attacks. But Nimbus had the upper hand. He didn't need to fight. He just needed to wait until Barry inhaled too much of his toxic mist. Barry started coughing, his vision blurring. Nimbus smirked. You can't outrun death. Barry staggered, nearly collapsing. But then he saw it, the containment chamber Cisco had set up just outside. With the last of his strength, Barry dashed forward, leading Nimbus into the chamber. As soon as Nimbus stepped inside, Cisco activated the seals. Nimbus, now trapped, tried to escape, but there was nowhere for his mist form to go. Barry collapsed outside, gasping for air. But he had won. Closure and new beginnings. With Nimbus locked away in the specially designed metahuman prison under Star Labs, Barry finally felt a sense of relief. But he knew this was just the beginning. More metahumans were out there, and they were getting stronger. Joe, now fully aware of what Barry was up against, pulled him aside. You saved my life today. Barry smiled. I'll always have your back, Joe. Joe hesitated, then said, Your father, he would be proud of you. Barry's smile faltered, but his heart swelled. I hope so. Meanwhile, Caitlin visited the sealed-off section of Star Labs where Ronnie had died. She placed her hand on the glass, whispering, I miss you. But behind the glass, something strange was happening. A security camera flickered, a shadow moved, and for just a second a face appeared on the screen. Ronnie Raymond. But his eyes were burning with fire. To be continued.